It's the first major deal to come out of COP26. More than 100 nations set to promise to halt and reverse deforestation and land degradation by the end of this decade. It comes after the first day of the United Nations Climate Summit, where leaders warned the world faced a doomsday scenario. Well, our chief international correspondent Ben Lewis joins us tonight from Glasgow. Good evening, Ben. Tell us, what's the significance of this latest deal?
Well, Janice, good evening. It is hugely significant because land clearing by humans is thought to be responsible for almost a quarter of greenhouse gas emissions worldwide each year. The countries which have signed on to this pledge are home to around 85% of the world's forests. Those countries include China, Indonesia, and perhaps most crucially, Brazil. President Bolsonaro is not here in Glasgow, and in recent years, he has faced intense criticism for allowing extensive logging inside the Amazon rainforest. This is, as you said, the first big pledge out of COP26, where world leaders have been told to put politics aside and focus on the bigger picture.
A call to action from the Queen.
I, for one, hope that this conference will be one of those rare occasions where everyone will have the chance to rise above the politics of the moment and achieve true statesmanship.
The monarch was supposed to be in Glasgow with her family, but poor health kept her away.
We none of us will live forever. But we are doing this not for ourselves, but for our children and our children's children, and those who will follow in their footsteps.
The summit's host stressing that time is running out.
We are in roughly the same position, my fellow global leaders, as James Bond today, except that the tragedy is, this is not a movie, and the doomsday device is real.
Scott Morrison sees no reason for doom and gloom.
There is cause for optimism as we gather here.
Some optimism, but plenty of scepticism too among COP delegates, as he explained the key to Australia's 2050 net zero target.
Technology will have the answers to a decarbonised economy, particularly over time, and achieve it in a way that does not deny our citizens, especially in developing economies, their livelihoods or the opportunity for a better quality of life.
While leaders were given just 3 minutes to explain their pledges, climate experts had hoped to hear more detail.
Look, I think it is vague. Maybe over time more will come out. But the biggest concern I have is action between now and 2030, because that's what will be decisive, and that's where we've fallen down.
Australia will provide an additional $500 million in aid to its Pacific neighbours to help them deal with global warming, part of a $2 billion 5-year commitment. Fiji's Prime Minister describing Australia's climate pledge as a start.
We Pacific nations have not travelled to the other end of the world to watch our future sacrifice at the altar of appeasement of the world's worst emitters.
From the world's third largest emitter, a surprise announcement.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा.
That's 2 decades after the COP target and 10 years after China. But a pledge to source half of India's energy from renewables by 2030 has been welcomed. Joe Biden appeared to find the talk fest a little tiring. He said sorry for his predecessor's climate inaction.
I guess I shouldn't apologise, but I do apologise for the fact the United States, the last administration, pulled out of the Paris Accords and put us sort of behind people.
The president teasing more US commitments to come. Leaders are, as you'd expect, saying all the right things, but behind the scenes, officials are frantically trying to downplay expectations, framing this summit as the latest step in a lengthy process rather than a singular planet-saving moment. Not good enough, according to those whose countries are at most imminent risk.
We do not want that dreaded death sentence. And we've come here today to say, try harder, try harder.
A call echoed by the man responsible for introducing millions to the wonders of the natural world.
In my lifetime, I've witnessed a terrible decline. In yours, you could and should witness a wonderful recovery. That desperate hope, ladies and gentlemen, delegates, Excellency, It's why the world is looking to you and why you are here. Thank you.
Today is the last day of world leaders' involvement here at COP26. Most of them fly out of Glasgow tonight. Tomorrow the floor will then be handed over to the technical delegates and experts for 2 weeks of intense climate negotiations. Janice, one leader we were expecting to see here was Turkish President Erdogan. He pulled out at the last minute over a dispute about security arrangements.
Thank you so much. That's our Chief International Correspondent Ben Lewis giving us the latest from COP26 in Glasgow.